strength, what did you pick up?
From my strength, I pick up like from what I've written down. It's like it's a self-reflection. Where do I feel most strong? What I've written down is like growing up, my parents encouraged me to develop my strength, and they also encouraged me to get better at all things I was weaker at. And this approach is similar at work. I have been acknowledged for things that I'm great at, then asked to develop in the areas that I'm not. The classic feedback is of a personal, professional development. And what I've realized is that we all have strength. On the other side, we all have things that we are not strong at. And this part is what makes me make myself. That's what I've gained from the training on our last LEKGOTLA.
Thank you so much. If you didn't get the report, I think we still have some copies for those who came today. I know you downloaded this. This app that is playing. That's where this book comes from. And I know you downloaded it. Your experience?
I'm still trying to I'm still learning how to meditate, but the app is very helpful. You just choose whatever mood or sound that you like, and if it's pleasing to your ear, and you go with it. It's really nice, and the breathing exercises as well, and how to handle anxiety, and all of that is very helpful.
Great. I'm glad you're working on it. Get the book, download the app. It's called calm.com. It's for free, and if you want to go extra level, you then go premium, but they are basic stuff. I'm handing over now to the teams to feedback. Which team is ready? There's Indugu. I've recorded all the questions that were raised before you went out. I have published them already, so the people who are with us now, they can also access those questions. And thanks for those people who came and redo the questions, because I think you formulated it much more better than when you were asking the media. And we believe that those questions, plus the inputs coming from here, will help the office to think about what the next steps are going to be. And it does look like this is not enough, but I'll leave that to you guys to tell us what you think the direction should be. Please be a little bit audible. People on the line have been complaining that we are too soft. They don't hear us. So you could just make sure that you express yourself a little bit louder without blowing our ears. Who's next? Who's next? No, it's up to you. It's odd, you can talk.
I expected everybody to say team one should start first, and whoever said the counting starts with one, we need a very serious conversation. Nonetheless, it's very interesting to know that we have left and right brain behavior patterns. I'm sure a whole lot of us today here will attest to the fact that we did not necessarily know that existed in us, and even such thing existing in human body. We have these feelings that we have every day on your left or on your right, and we could not put a thing into it as to what it meant and where it came from. And I think today we got a good education, and we take something home with us. My name is Chwape Patrick Zima. I represent Team 1. We call ourselves the Builders, and builders as in your builders. We are builders of the nation, and because what we share today will help us build a nation going forward. and that's how we came up with the name Builders. Our chairperson of the group is Murama Kopo Gerald Pachani. For the sake of time, I'm just gonna go, when I go through the introduction, they will just raise their hand up and then you can just get through so that you know who they are. And I'm not gonna go through any of them. Murama Kopo Gerald Pachani is our chairperson. And then in the group we have Ms. Tlalani Chavalala. I have to say Tlalani means Hanka, sorry. And then we also had Ms. Zonke Zanele Majondina Ngesho Hambile Ms. Zonke Zanele. And then we had Sipo Philip Sitole. Sitole means cow. And then we have Michael Molava, Mpila Michael Molava. And then we have Michael, I get to know, sorry, for the benefit of my brother, Michael apparently means the highly ranked angel. So you're the team leader of the angels. Michael Mender, we got to know that today. Michael works at COMETSA. We also have Lungiswa Faith Ngezi, soon to be somebody. And Lungiswa, for those who don't know, means corrected. And Ngezi is Ngezi, English. We have Manamelani Mpila, our resident educator. And those are the members of the team. The presentation strategies we agreed on using for the sake of time, and we said we're gonna use our checkout points as our presentation. And we then said the early childhood development as presented to us today was for some of us, or for most of us, an eye-opener of some sort, because we go around the world thinking we know it all, and in actual fact our knowledge is much to do about nothing. And it is not necessarily through our own faults or the creation of ours, but it also resonates from where we come from and what we were taken through. Therefore, it was confirmed to us that as parents, we have to be, going forward, be emotionally intelligent. And again, you will need to understand that this is not how we were necessarily brought up. And we to a certain extent, maybe could not take blame ourselves, because it's not the education that we were taken through as we were raised ourselves, or we were brought up ourselves, but we are now today our way going forward. We also want to think that it has been confirmed to us to a certain extent that the world is in crisis in as far as raising children is concerned, because our kids are in danger as the parents' hands are tied by the children's Bill of Rights as it relates to them and their upbringing. We want to claim that it is common practice to most of us, or the understanding as we were raised up, that in your mother's house or in your grandmother's house, you had no such thing as rights, but today we do know that you do. It's about whether the mother, the grandfather, the grandmother will understand that. Then again, there's a flip side of the things that comes from the kids' point of view. That kids says, we feel that we were let down by our parents, as they did not necessarily coach us on emotional intelligence. But again, we agree they would have been a little bit ignorant, because they were not taught childhood development themselves. And maybe that can be blamed in the developing world, and the fact that When you look at it, South Africa during the past that we least want to remember was not a member of the unions like the United Nations councils, was not a member of the rest of the world. We were isolated, we lived in segregation, and now coming together as one world, and we are interacting with the rest of the world. We're experiencing things that we maybe necessarily did not experience, and not because they're intelligent, they're better than us, but because they had a certain different behavior patterns and we have our own, and therefore we live in one world. And then, of course, there were those moments that caught our attention the most when the day was progressing, and we said the United Nations Bill of Rights just exposed just how little we know and are aware about the Bill of the children's rights in our efforts of bringing them up, and that was rudely exposed to us today, and we vow to carry and understand that going forward, because to most of us, when it was exposed and when Mamzoke was talking and when Helena was also talking, it got a bit emotional to an extent, because you look at yourself and you remember a lot of things that you said to your kids, or a lot of things that you said to the kids that you work around or you work with, or a lot of things that have been said to you before. And to be told today that actually that was infringing on your rights as a children, or you yourself were perpetuating that infringement, it was quite a shocker. I actually shared the moment with the team about the training, I'm a football coach, about the training session that I had yesterday, about the left brain and right brain stories. That when we were running a certain training session, some kids could get it at the first experiment, some couldn't get it, and some needed a second explanation. And as we were going, I grew frustrated of the fact that others were not getting it right. And I said, okay, I named them class A, B, C, and D, and E, and F. I said, the F are failing, are not getting it right, and therefore I swap them around, I mix the A's and the B's, and the A's and the F, and the G and the E's, and believe me, it worked. But when it was being told here that maybe you needed to be a little bit patient with the left brainers, then I felt really bad myself. It was actually very sad to find out that I was infringing on the rights of the left brainer kids. But I suppose that was an aha moment, and we're very grateful to that. And so the new insight that we're taking with us, we agree that for each and every one of us, we need to go and practice emotional coaching to the extreme, and to beyond what it actually means, and beyond what meets the eyes. When Helena spoke about generic brain profiling, I think in my intro I said we actually didn't know that the brain had a left and a right. It was quite a shocker, but through our experiences of life and interactions, we do know that what you said in a picture, it actually happens whether in emotions or in the thought process or something. So that was a new insight that we take with us. Then going forward, we understand when certain things happen to us, what they actually mean and what they are to us. Let me say we going from here, going home today, we need to have ourselves empowered when it comes to children's Bill of Rights and actually practice them, and most importantly, respect them, so that the others can see it from us. We cannot have the AMA 2000 generation being expected to behave in the same way that the 60s and the 50s were behaving, or were being taught the behavior of the 60s and 50s. Only the 2000s will laugh. We need to continue praying for our kids in whichever way your belief system guides you. And we specifically said this because we were quite aware that we have different belief systems, and none of those supersede the other, or none is over the other one. So we agree that we need to continue praying for our kids, because I think above all our efforts, the Almighty in the way that you understand it is the one that will give a guidance to how you raise those kids. And we hope when we leave here, we'll be able to influence the world in the sense that we'll have seminars on childhood development, plus emotional intelligence coaching as it relates to children's development. And then we also says, there's something that was quoted from the AU's take on childhood development, that everyone has a duty to family, including respect for others. And we dare say this applies to kids as well. And in as much as it's a responsibility of the mentors and the parents and the adults to respect the Bill of Rights as it relates to children, we also want to say to the children that you also have a responsibility towards making it to the family and making positive input to the family. And that could be simply by means of just paying attention and engaging and understanding, and in a respectful way questioning when you are lost in the thought process and all understanding. So that is a little bit of a contribution that we have from the builders, and we hope most of you share the experience with us, and we hope to be better people, the citizens of the world going forward in the future. Thank you.
The builders, stand up. Let us honor them for the good work. Well done. Thank you. Next group. Guys, it's actually not allowed to have two Lekgotla. There's only one into Kuyengus. There are never two. You know what happens?
I think we brought it in.
Yes. There's one into Kuyengozi, and then we have got the, what do you call the little kids? Intunas. If you want Intuna to have into, you take into Kuyengozi, you duplicate it, and then you give it to Intunas. There's never two Indus. Yeah? So just keep that in mind. I know my brother wanted to cut the corners and say we must have two Indus. So it can only be one. Another one will be fake. Thank you.
Afternoon. My name is Gift and I'm representing Group 2, which goes by the name Pulayami Soft Trade for one side. So it means it gives birth for life, but sometimes it destroys things. In our group we had diversity because there was a different age groups and gender. So I'm going to introduce my group mates, including my chairperson Adila, and then my group mates goes by the names Miss Nomtikelelo, yeah, Mr. Stevens, you can see Miss Dimakas there on the floor, Miss Eva, the glasses, Mr. Mahushe next to me, and then Mr. Mamhwan there. Okay, and then Mr. Semtima introduced the theme, which was early child development. So I'm just gonna reflect on what we did the whole day since the start of this session. The first thing we did was meditation. My group found meditation very relaxing, scary, and some found it very weird. Some feel that meditation is not for everyone because they kept opening their eyes during the session because they couldn't focus. So now I'm going to summarize based on the video. or the first speaker. What we learned on the first video, it was very informative and something that if only they knew this information, they would have made better choices or decisions about parenting. So it was very informative to some of our community. And then we learned that there's a certain approach that to our kids, that shouting at our kids or bribing them to make them come doesn't work. You have to sit them down and talk to them. So on the second speaker, which was genetic profiling by Miss Ella, okay, it was also informative because it also gave us information about behavior of certain people, our kids or siblings, because some of us are not parents yet. And then, some were even able to identify our own bit of profiling, like Miss Eva, Miss Eva. We were able to identify a bit of profiling because she was right eye, left eye. And then on the third speaker about children's rights, we found that the rights of children was very intriguing because there isn't enough balance between the children and parents' rights based on the reality that's happening in our households. And then some are against the children's rights from my group, that they misuse their rights to their parents. So it should be important to children to be taught their rights also with their responsibilities. And then it is also needed to respect children's rights as parents and also teach our kids that we also have rights. That's basically from learning of what we learned today.
And the checking out? You haven't done it, we didn't get to date. Okay, that's fine. What do you call them? The drizzling. Is that why you were asking me? Drizzling. Can you stand up? Let's honor you guys. I got to overhear this team. It was lit. Great insights and very well balanced. Thank you very much. The next group, the last. You leave the best to the last.
Good afternoon. The last group, which is group number 3. Okay, by the way, I'm LEKGOTLA Rambi. LEKGOTLA means blessing. And I'm also Ngatan. Ngatan is my forefather's name. So I don't use it anyway because she's a key. He's a freedom fighter. So I'm just LEKGOTLA. Our names is Paramisa, which means, the name of the group is Paramisa, which means rising up to children.
Wow.
And our chairman is Ruth. Field. Then spokesperson is LEKGOTLA Rambi. Then what we have learned today about that video, we have learned that we only used to know we have left foot and right foot only. We have never thought about eyes, and we just thought we have 2 eyes. So just because I was example, I know that everything about me is right. Right attitude also. And also we have learned about mind. Yeah. Those who's left, they've got problems. And they are short temper, so we are the king. Yeah. And okay, let's get to the core. Questions: should views of the children taken or respected? Then the other question is, how can we as parents get involved with government in our children's emotional intelligence? So, I think at the moment it is not happening because people are taking children lightly. Adults tell children what to say, not their own opinions. Government should organize campaign for children from 14 to 18 years to talk about their rights. We have to start educating community, especially children, about their rights. Creating confidence in the children. We should give our children confidence to believe in themselves. There's lack of communication between adults and children, or parents and children. Government should encourage the parents to be involved in their children early childhood development. Schools must help talented children at school without excluding parents. LO is vital subject in school to help children to know themselves. Or life orientation, by the way. LO is life orientation. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's enough.
Thank you so much. I know you love this work. Last time you did, and this time you did, so that's beautiful to see the passion you have for sharing with us. Can I ask the chairpersons to stand up, please? Who is the third chairperson? The chairpersons, yes. Without chairpersons, without leadership, there is nothing. So what has been the experience? Sharing this session of very intelligent, highly opinionated people, how was it?
Afternoon again. From my group, we are the number ones, and I think even by the results, you can judge. Yeah, you know, I thought leadership, but my thanks, guys. Yes, it's been on my right hand side here. So, from my group, guys, I don't want to lie. From my group, like we had a great time together, and those points that we shared, they were very much important, guys. And for my take, it's like I think everyone was participating there, and I would like to thank everyone who participated there. Thank you.
That's leadership, right?
So my group was really engaged, and everybody participated. So we got a lot of diverse insights in terms of the issues surrounding children and children rights, child development, and all the challenges that are there, and also maybe they've got children or you don't have children, and where you're coming from, etc. The issues are a bit different. So it was quite nice because there are certain things that some of us have forgotten because our children are much older. But then when you speak to the other people with the smaller children, it starts coming up again and you can actually see what's happening. So I think I would encourage this kind of group meetings and also this kind of discussions because it actually, I think, leads to personal changes at a personal level and in the community as well.
So Adila, so our group was the Medupi. So I think when we started our group, what was very interesting is the fact that, and really must just congratulate Gift as well, because some of us have been there before, but Gift made himself a bit vulnerable as well, and I'm sharing it here if you don't mind. The fact that he was very, very shy. So I think he really, really did a great job by having the courage. So he was actually kind of put on the spot to say, well, okay, you're the shy one, so you take it forward. But I also said to our group, it was so wonderful to have this mini Lekgotla afterwards, because we could really, really reinforce and embed what we had learned. So instead of just learning it and walking away, we actually had an opportunity to really have dialogue, engagement, collaboration around the different insights. And if there were 8 of us around the table, every one of us had different insights, so even though we watched the same presentation. So that's why I really, really commend that. The other thing that was very, very interesting for me was the fact that we captured, and because we went according to the script of what we had to do. But I wish we had captured what wasn't scripted, because, and I wish for the young generation that were on our table, I only wish their parents were flies on the walls. The insights, the beautiful conversations, the honesty, the truthfulness. If parents really, really want to know what is happening in your child's mind, how can I tap into it? It was, I would love to have recorded that or captured it. And I actually would like one of my colleagues maybe as well, besides just being the chairperson, being a parent. It was such an insightful moment as a parent. This generation was so honest, so truthful, and it just for me sparked something else about what this Lekgotla brought out and what the youth is feeling, and they're not actually expressing, they're going according to a template or a script, it's got to be done that way. But I really, really heard different things like be creative, be different, I want to be parented different. So that for me was really, really interesting.
Thank you very much. The reason why I want the leaders to share is don't take it for granted that conversations like this just happen. Even in a work situation, you are asked sometimes to bring people together to generate ideas. And you as a chairperson, if you're not in control, you're not going to achieve results. And you are lucky in the sense that we prepared you. But in many cases, you don't. You just get called in and you have people, you chair them. But the results of that deliberation depends on your chairing. And the script / spokespersons, stand up please. As you have said, it's very hard to stand in front of people and speak. It's not easy. On top of that, it's very hard to be in a session and listen and capture things, and everybody is wanting to tell you how to feedback.
I actually said to Dade Makhanyane that I've done many of these many times in my life, and I'm a football coach. I get to stand on the podium every single day of my life, but standing again and again and again always brings its own goosebumps, or kind of. And however, what I do want to say, apart from the kind cooperation that I got from my group, and appreciating the support and the help in getting it come out the way it did, which I hope it was, you guys were proud of, I hope. And it's the fact that we went over and over and over, and we agreed to disagree in a short space of time, and we were able to come with that. What I do want to say to the youngsters is to say to you, this is just what the world is. This is how you move forward, going forward into your life, because this is the only way for you and presenting that is, or being in a podium and being able to speak your mind, is the only way for you to define the world that you want to find yourself in. Because if you don't do it, people are going to define that world for you. And you need to take this forward with you in your studies, in your groupings, in your peer groupings, and wherever that you go, that you need to understand that there's nothing rude about you being able to understand yourself and stand for your own self, because if you don't, nobody will do it, but instead they will define the world that you don't subscribe to, and you will come back home or wherever you go and complaining and mourning about the fact that people are bullying you in your own spaces and stuff like that. So take this as an opportunity, keep coming to sessions like this, keep engaging in sessions at schools or wherever you go, and I'm telling you, you'll never regret.
I must reveal a secret. You know, he amazes me, and every time I listen to him to talk, because I know where the journey it is. Yeah, I've kept it to myself for a very long time. Now today he made me to express it, to say when I try to go back where, because we are brothers, understand, and where he is today, and I just realized that it doesn't happen on his own, and we give. If he did not tell us, believe you me, we will have not even known. I'm myself sitting here surprised. Where is this coming from? Young man, you know you have got a secret weapon. You are a very good speaker. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. My thoughts about my group is that I learned that there's different personalities, we perceive things differently. So when I listened while we were discussing based on the sessions we had today, I realized that people are going through different things. You know, some of us were sharing how our parents treating us based on relationships, lifestyles, and whatnot. I realized that we all have different situations. So from those different situations, I think we can try to relate from the sessions we had today and try to figure out how to solve our daily issues as kids. How do we interact with our parents?
Wow. The parent is here, he's listening. He's not going to say a lie. He has to go and tell the mother when he gets home. Yeah, we have done great work. That man is a leader. Yeah. This man, we have a branch in Tembisa. If you don't know, this man is one of the most tweeting and posting. And LEKGOTLA, whoever follows him today knows LEKGOTLA because of him. How was the experience?
Thank you for this opportunity. Yeah, the experience was good. We learned as a team that every idea counts. Don't undermine other people. Yeah, you have to be flexible and adaptable. Yeah. Yeah, and me being a leader, I'm born leader. I'm not a I've been under 17 captain, I've been under 23 captain, I've been a SRC and EWC, so I'm born leader. I thank you.
Seb, I just want to say, and it's absolutely true, he's very active, but when I asked him about how did you find the session, so not only did he say, I'm a leader, but he said, I'm going to be a better father after listening to this. So well done.
Thank you so much. I'm going to ask one of our directors in the President's Awareness Club, Keshi, to thank our speaker. I don't prepare them, by the way, they know. Can you just, Helen, you know, I would have loved to say it myself, but you and I will talk every day. I want to ask the director to really thank you for the wonderful work you've done, and also Dr. Zonke Matutina in her absence.
Afternoon, everyone. I almost took the center stage. Okay. Ellen, we thank you. This kind of sessions as COMETSA, we really, from more than 20 years, these are kind of sessions which build communities which we have interacted with. From here, what you see here, it's not only Gauteng, it's provinces, it's municipalities, it's districts which are represented here. As COMETSA, we take pride in being immersed in communities and working with communities. The knowledge which you have shared with us today, it's really critical, not only from every space which you occupy, but from being parents, part of family as a basic unit. We are going to ensure that we, as highlighted early by Faith, to say we are going to ensure that we integrate it into our programs, so that going forward, there's any other opportunities for us to learn. We don't leave, we take each and every teachable moment seriously, so that when we go forward, we can be able to ensure that we holistically can be developed as COMETSA members. So from the board, we thank you for gracing this occasion, and we really thank you for spending the whole day. And we think going forward, we're still going to build and even share podiums together in so many occasions. And thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Good. And by the way, she is, since this week, a member. She has paid her membership. So she's no longer just a guest. I wanted to keep it to number last, so that you know. She went online and she paid, and she's also a sign-up associate of us. So we welcome you to the family.
Thank you.
Can I quickly now, these are really the last year. You wanted to?
And we thank Dr. Zonke as well in absentia. We know she had to leave us early. We thank her for the presentation and the knowledge she has shared with us, and we think going forward we'll be able to share, and we have learned a lot from the presentation which she had for us, and I just wanted to highlight it from the board. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I quickly, these are the last things, can I ask the Limpopo guys to stand up? No, not Limpopo in terms of origin, the leadership from Limpopo. So these guys, every LEKGOTLA, they travel from Limpopo to attend. They missed the last one because one of our guys that we grew up with passed on, and then they had to attend the funeral. But Taj did come by when we were finishing. So it's not a joke to wake up at 3 o'clock every LEKGOTLA day to arrive here at 9. So they will go back tomorrow, and we are represented in June 1st. It's my hometown, Patrick's hometown, but these are the guys who are on the ground on a daily basis. He can tell you how many times a day we call each other. Taj is leading them. So we thank you guys. And then, of course, after June 1st, the second branch of COMETSA in the last 20 years is Amaskra. can I ask the leadership from Askra to stand up, Rafisha and his team? By the way, it all started through football. Yeah, I was joking with them that where's the soccer field now? So we really thank you guys. Again, Askra is also not just close. Yeah, you woke up early and to be here with us. And I'm always pleased to see Hamaskra continue because there are really serious issues in Hamaskra of development. I mean, that's one part of Gauteng that even if I don't call you and tell you, I know the problems of Hamaskra. We had about 6 teams or so in Hamaskra. We will travel there almost every month. We will be playing football, people will be walking past the ground and say, hey, come on. So you have a lot of challenges of development. But I think with you guys, Rafisha being in the police force, we are glad that we have a law enforcement director of us, so we are close to the issues. Yeah. And then of course, all of us who are in Gauteng based, we really, last time we had 20 people, today we had 32 people, 3 more people cancelled at the last minute. So we appreciate you coming because this is really for all of us. If we can stand up and then, by the way, I said the law enforcement, this is Pastor Sitol. I'm going to ask him to close for us with prayer. You know, people are multi-skilled. I call him Pravish, I call him Pastor Sitole. I don't know whether you're a captain or surgeon, but I never used that title. Can we stand up, hold hands, and really just ask Pastor Sitole to close the session for us?
Let us close our eyes and pray. In the beginning of everything, our Lord, we invite you to come be with us onto this session. Now, because it's the last time we are going back to our different houses, different destinations, I invite you, God, to go with us and bless us with everything that we've been pleading to you to give us. Papa, we are never harmed. No matter what, never told how we can marafalona. Tlhoyale jaji, coffee jaji, never do no matter what. Utlele rona mulimo matla wotlhe wa re fa matla wa re fa botlhale tle mulimo matla wotlhe tsamale rona go ya malapeng a rona go fapafapana ka lebitso le le tlang le rona Jesu Kriste Chikwebo xa hina xa matimba ha cancer ho silo ko itsitse le ri le na ena hlekano kwa go fikela Jesu Kriste a buya in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Let's greet everybody and wish them well for the road. Travel safely. Thanks for joining me.